There we go. Hey everyone. So we got my Twitch going, got my YouTube going. Yeah, I said all this and I didn't have my mic on. So I got my chat windows up, got my coffee, got the forge lit. Actually, okay, got the forge lit. And today I got to restock my number 10 horseshoe nails. So these are just number 10 regular head. And for these guys, I normally do a batch of either by hundreds, because that's what the box is. Today I'm only doing 100. Normally I'll do a batch of 200, but I'm running a little low, so I'm gonna do the 100 today. And unlike my smaller horseshoe nail hooks, I don't use my really tiny 5-brick forge. I use my full Mighty Forge for these. And see if I can give you an example of what I'm making today. Yep. So this is, sorry, the sun is really bright coming in here. So that's my number 10 horseshoe nail hooks. Actually, I got one in the back, right back there, holding up that frying pan. Wanted to test it out to make sure it can actually hold a cast iron pan, which it can. That's been up there for over a year now, I guess. I'd have to go back on my videos to see. I started doing that because my small ones, I actually have one of the small ones here too, so I'll show you the difference in size. So if you look at the two size difference on it, even though the loop is the same, it's quite different in size. How can I hold this so you can see it nicely? So quite a size difference. So I found with these guys, even though they can hold a cast iron pan, they just didn't look right. So I started doing number 10. I also do a 16, but I very rarely sell those. So I only do 16s when they come up. And it's been a while since I've done a 16. So like I said, I am doing these guys today. Tong-wise, I'm going to be using my flat bit tongs. And pretty well, when I do this, I'm actually normally on the other side of the anvil, so I'm close to my forge. My anvil is still, when I first set up my anvil, I normally worked on that side of the shop. But because of how the sun comes in, it just really washed out all my videos. And even today, with it being a nice bright sunny day, it's kind of washing out if I go close to that front camera. So I've switched over to this side of the anvil to do my forging for the videos. There is plan to put that anvil on a new stand, one that's filled with sand, and actually slide it back so it's a little bit more efficient when I'm forging. So basically, with these guys, I just load up 15, 20 into the forge at once, and I'll work on that batch, and then I'll put another like 20 in until I'm actually done. Now eventually I do want to get, I think it was 2 years ago, I did a video of a little forge that I got off of Amazon. Now, I still have that. I still use it occasionally. I do plan on insulating that just a little bit better for really small stuff like that. Heating up this big forge to do something very small like this is kind of, well, not really that efficient. So that is plans. I do need to reline this forge as well. So I'm going to be tackling both of those at the same time when I get my refactory cement. And I've lost count how many I've put in, so I'm going to just put a few more in. It can handle it. Now, if you're one of the ones that can't make it to the live stream and you're watching it afterwards, and you do like it, make sure you hit the like button. You know, leave a comment. Come on. All that good stuff. Yeah. So what I have on the floor, I just got a 1 gallon paint can, and when I flatten the heads, it goes in there. That's so my floor stays a little bit clean. Apparently YouTube is complaining. Not sure why. Let's see how Twitch is doing. Well, Twitch says I'm doing okay, but YouTube doesn't. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, so because I'm restocking, and this is something that I do quite often, if you do have any questions, you know, feel free to put it up in chat, and I'll try my best to answer it. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here. Well, I hope you don't got too much buffer in today. I'm sorry. I'm gonna turn up the forge a little bit because I am starting from cold. So normally with my forge, I'm running it pretty well quite low when I do stuff like this. For my particular setup, it's usually somewhere in the 3 to 4 PSIs. When I'm doing heavier forging, so like the tongs I did earlier this week, I run it about 10. If I'm doing a batch of hammers and axes, I'll run it at 10, maybe 12, depending on the air that's in the shop. In the summertime, 10 is usually all I need. And then if I'm doing a lot of forge welding, I will pump it up to 15. That's the max that Mighty Forge recommends for these guys. It can do more. The regulator can go up to 30. But I didn't notice any difference between running it at 15 or anything higher. So But I normally don't run it at 15 unless I plan on doing like the mass of steel or something like that. So I did crank it up to 10 right now just to get that forge hot. One thing with doing these nails, at least how I do them, these hooks with the nails, you want to make sure that you get a good heat all the way down. All the way down the nail, all the way to the tip. And the reason for that is I do the tip after I flatten out the head, so it's actually cold when I do the tip, as well as forming around my jig. I also do that while they're cold. So really the flattening out the head is the only thing I do any forging with it, so any heat. Sorry about that. Okay, so now that the forge is getting close to temp, I'm going to turn it down. Like I said, I don't need, once I get going, I won't need that much heat in the forge for these guys. On a lot of my little stuff, like when I'm working with 1/4 inch or even 3/8, I will run the forge a little bit lower. So with these guys, all I'm doing is flattening out the head. Just flattening out the head. And I try and aim for the bucket. Sometimes, like that one, it doesn't necessarily go in. It's like a little game I have where I see how many I can get into the bucket without picking it off the floor. Some days go nicer than others. So yeah, we're just hitting the head down. And then we're going to rinse and repeat. Oh, Nate. Hi, Nate. We got a jig today. I got to do bigger horseshoe nails today. This wasn't originally planned for today. I just happened to get a big order of them. Now, as for the jig, I'm using the exact same jig I use for my number 6. My number 6 hooks, or horseshoe nail hooks. And once I get what I got in the forge flattened out and reloaded, I'll show you that jig. and talk you a little bit through it. It's a pretty simple jig. So how you doing today, Nate? Yeah, these are the ones that hold the frying pan. And I'm only going to be doing 100 today because, well, that's what the box comes. And I don't need more than that at this point in time. That will allow me to get my orders out as well as have some stock left over. So normally I will do these in 200 batches. Well, the original plan for today just got moved to tomorrow. Today I was going to play with some scrap metal, angle iron actually. It's a little project that I've seen other smiths do quite a lot actually, and I kind of want to try it myself, but I don't want to ruin the surprise for tomorrow. So now I'm just going to load up the forge again. I'm going to drop it down to 5 psi's. You'll notice that I haven't touched my airflow for the forge yet. And I find that I really don't do that. I know that, you know, I should a little bit more. The only time I really play with the air coming into the forge is if I'm doing heat treating. Yeah, I got to use the big forge on this. The little tiny forge just doesn't have enough heat coming out of it to go all the way up to the tip of the horseshoe nails. It will, but it just takes way too long. I do have plans to modify that forge I bought from Amazon, that little single burner. I do plan on modifying that for these little guys. Yeah, if I was just doing like even just changing over the forge is not worth it, even for doing 200. If I had a big order and I had something else to do at the same time, it might be worth it. As in something like breaking down material on my bandsaw. Or like if I had the plasma cutter cutting something, then it might be worth having that set up. Something where I can just throw it in the forge and wait until it does actually heat up enough. Now, because I want to actually go through the whole process today on at least a couple of them, the ones I just finished doing, I'm getting them out of the bucket so they can cool over there while I finish forging up these guys. For the jig I'm using today, so as for the tools, I'm going to be using my round nose pliers. These guys I actually got from a jewelry making company kind of thing. They do beads and all that. They sell that, but you can get them on Amazon, AliExpress, all that fun stuff. Now with my jig, it is a piece of angle iron, and I have a 1/2-inch pipe. Now, this could have been solid bar if I wanted to. I just had this little piece of 1/2-inch. So welded that on, and then I have a piece of channel here. Now, the reason why I'm using the channel is the first reason. Let me grab one of the hooks I already have made. So I wanted a spot on the top that curl can lock into. But also, if I mishit and I bend this around somehow while holding the tongs, I want to be able to grab it in there, push this all the way back to this straight piece here, and that way I can actually straighten out the back end of that hook and then curl it around again. And this just sits in my vise. Yeah, so I want to try and keep as interesting as possible with these live streams, but sometimes I just have to do production, so yeah. So the reason why I use my jigs on my vise as opposed to the anvil is just the height of it. Especially for these hooks, trying to work down at the anvil, even if I had a little small chair, like, you know, just looking at it, I'm sitting up here, I'll be bent over a jig all the time, where if I go back to my vise, I'm working right up here. And I find that really helps the shoulders. Another reason is, for the longest time, my anvil didn't have a back half. Not this anvil, but my original anvil, which is in the back corner there. It basically had, one day I'll show it. I actually did show it in a video, but it basically only has this front much of the table, or the top of the anvil, and all of this is broken off the back end. So I didn't have any hardy holes or anything like that. So a lot of my jigs went onto the vise because of that. Also, the nice thing is with having it on the vise, I can put it in either one of my vices. I got 2 down here. And also if I change out my vise, I don't have to retool it. Where if I made it to fit in like my hardy hole, if I ever change my anvil, I would have to modify it for the new hardy hole if it's different. And another reason why I do it in a vise as opposed to on the anvil is sometimes when I'm working on something where it needs time to soak in the heat, so Damascus steel or something like that, if I have some hooks that I need to bend up, I can do that over on the vise and keep my anvil free. And with this, with my horseshoe nail hooks, because flattening out the heads are the only thing I actually do at heat, I don't have to worry about having it just in the anvil. Now, if I was doing bigger hooks, like with say 3/8 round, and I was doing it with a jig at the end, like with a jig, I might do that actually on the anvil so I can do everything there. Also, tomorrow's episode, I'm going to be weighing my propane before I start, and then after I'm done, and seeing how much weight I lose on my propane for just that one session. Because, you know, I've been asked, many people have asked me how much propane I use, and I have no idea. I can look up the dollar amount, because I do keep track of that. But as for how many pounds or how many liters or whatever, no clue. Now, I will admit, with doing these little hooks, if I had an induction forge, I'd be so much happier. And now we load up again and repeat the whole process. Hello, John. Yeah, I hope when you can check it out, I hope you like it. Thanks for dropping by and saying hi. I appreciate it. Well, not quite ready yet. Like I said, I want to make sure I get a heat all the way up until the tip. That's just because I'm going to be doing the curl on the end as they're cold, and it makes a huge difference. These nails has some toughness into them, stress from the manufacturing process, and I've had tips break off while trying to curl them. So always make sure I get a good heat all the way up. Oh, I mishit on that. Ah. Okay. I think I saved it. And I'm just using a 2-pound cross-peen hammer on this. Don't need anything more than that. And you could probably get away with less if you want. And the only reason why I use a cross-peen the most is because that's what I'm used to. Only really started playing with a rounding hammer, I want to say 5 years ago, but I still keep on going back to the cross peen. It's what I'm used to. Oh, miss hat. I don't know if you're going to. I don't know. It's pretty, well, I'll give you a hint. It's something I've never done before, so you can't go back to old videos and say, oh, maybe he's going to revisit this. And we reload again. Do you want some like hints, Nate, or what? Are you just gonna randomly say stuff? I'm not gonna tell you what steel I'm using because that might give it away. It is back there though. No, it's not a planter. So, first of all, it's not a tool because tools are done on Tuesdays. It is blacksmithing. There's no welding involved. Depending on how the time goes, I might use a grinder to clean it up a little bit. I will use a wire wheel on a grinder to clean it. Not that I need to, but I will. And it is going to be mild steel, so, but that leaves a huge open. Yeah, it's only going to be metal. I'll even give you it's only going to be one piece of metal. Where's Punchy? There's Punchy. Punchy. So, the guys that I first grabbed out, so this is the first batch I did. The reason why I pulled them out is so I can actually punch them here on the live stream. So this is my hydraulic hole punch, named Punchy. I just named it, so it's not that original. I know. Now on this right now, I have a 5mm hole, and these guys get a 5mm hole. I am not sure what that translates to in inches. I apologize that I don't know that. And it does get a little stuck on this. And the reason why I don't have like a stripper bar or something on here is I was thinking about it, and I'm afraid that if I do put a stripper on here, a stripper bar on here, that it'll get in the way of me being able to see where the hole is going. And one big advantage of doing this using this punch is that I can just eye up where the hole needs to be. I don't have to do a center hole and then go over to the press, like drill press, and drill out a hole. I don't have googly eyes big enough for this guy yet. I only got really tiny ones. Or really giant ones. I think I got a pair of like 3-inch ones or 4-inch ones. Punchy's being bad today. There we go. Thing works great, other than the switch. And I'm not sure if that's because my shop is not always heated and like it gets moisture in it or something like that. I have taken it apart a couple times now, like the switch, and cleaned the contacts. And we're probably due for that again. No, I'm not making a square. Oh, let's get that bigger wrench out. So right here, I'm just using a spanner to actually pull these off. And normally they come off a little bit easier than this. Today, they're just being a little stubborn. I think it knows that I'm live. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna give you a pain. Oh, my monitor does not like me using this right beside it. No, I'm not making a boat or canoe. I'm gonna use the grinder more to clean up any sharp edges that are left by the my cold chisel. Yeah, I'm not sure why they're being a little bit more stubborn than normal today. Normally with this size, they actually just almost slide off. I normally have more troubles with the smaller number 6 ones. I think it knows that I'm live, and it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna be a pain. It's funny, every time I push the switch, my monitor with the chat goes out. It is, the cable for it is right beside it. So that's the first batch, the hole punched. I will save you from the rest of them. I won't show you the rest of them because, well, we'll see what time we end up at. Oh wait, 2:23 right now? Okay. So the tools I'm going to be using tomorrow's project, so I can give Nate another hint. I don't know if it's going to be helpful for him. So currently my plan is a hammer, of course. And I probably will be just using my 2-pounder, so the same I'm using today. I'll be using my flat bit tongs. No, tomorrow's project does not belong in a particular room. As in, it can go in any room. Okay, maybe not the nursery, like a baby's room. No, it's not going to be shelving brackets. I'm also going to say that it's probably not a traditional blacksmith project. And what I mean by that is a blacksmith in medieval time would most likely not make this. So this is the last batch in the forge for these guys. And I don't know how many are left because I kind of just said, yeah, the forge can handle it. Though it's getting kind of... Oh no, you still got a little bit of time of guessing. At least another 40 minutes. Nope, not a TV stand. So I will be doing some of the work on the anvil, some on the vise. I will not be using my press. It's going to be more of a hand tool. But I'm not going to rule out power tools. Though that project could be done with all hand tools. I'm also going to be using a wire wheel because I plan on actually having it completely done at the end of tomorrow's show. So I also will be using my little propane torch to do colorization on it. And there's no jigs. Yeah, colorization. So after I wire wheel it, I'll bring it back down to the bare steel, and I'll use my propane torch to add basically what you normally hear as tempered colors. And that's actually the steel oxidized into a certain color when it gets to a certain heat. So you know your straw yellow, then your kind of bronze, then it moves up to brown, purple, and then finally kind of a slate blue at I want to say 400 degrees Celsius if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. Not a picture frame or a holder. Should I tomorrow not say what I'm going to do right off the bat and just go through it and see how long it takes people to get it? Well, actually, my stream name never has actually what I'm going to be doing on it. I just put what title I already have, which is just I'm forging live and or Blacksmith live and the date. The only reason why I do the date is because so I can keep track a little bit better. Oh, I missed a step. So we're going back to the anvil for a second because when I punch these don't get too bad with the 5mm, but definitely the 4mm, you get a little bit of a tag on the back side of the punch. So I just quickly go the tag up while cold, and I just whack that back down. Yeah, that's all the hairpins and shawl pins I made last week. Was it last week? Yeah. I haven't got around to... I've only cleaned what I needed so far. So yeah, tomorrow morning, I hope to have some time to get that most of that done. Like wire wheeled them and beeswaxed them. I had 9 orders to go out this morning, and only half were ready to go. So, yeah. So like you see, no bullseye. And then on the other side of the forge, I don't know if you, is all the random steel that hasn't made it back into the rack yet. Oh, what happened to my camera? Come on. See if I can get you a little better. I'm limited to my cable length on my camera. Sorry, I'm just grabbing some empty boxes. Just wait until the third camera gets added. So with these guys, because I forged out the head, one side's going to be a little bit more, how should I say, more flat than the other side. And that's just how my hammer blows are. So this side was down on the anvil, where this side is where I hit. So there's a little tiny extra thickness right in here. What I'm going to do is, because I want the flat side against the wall, I'm going to look down it, pick my flat side, and then I'm just going to curl the tip over with my rounding pliers. And then that gets right up against the rest. Oh, you're not going to see it in the camera. I'll show you out of the vise for now. So it gets locked in right there. And then it just gets bent. Just gets bent around, just like that. And what I do, after every time I bend a hook, I'll actually sit it here to make sure the front of the hook hasn't gone wonky like this one has. Let's see if I can show you. It's hard to get the angle right. But anyways, it's kicked over a little bit. So I'll actually, mostly because I wasn't paying attention. So depending on how bad it is, if it's really bad like this one, I'll actually come back, straighten it out. I'll take the hook out, the nail out of the jig, reset it, and then go again. Now, if it's only a little bit kinked out, I'm actually going to just take my pliers and just slide that back in a little bit, so it looks nice and straight. Wait until I get my camera that follows me around. Nice. I like when they get bent up nicely and I don't have to adjust them. How many heats for tomorrow's project? I'm not really sure, actually. It's literally something I've never done before. So, optimistically, I'm going to say 6. Realistically, probably 10. Pessimistically, 20. So there is going to be a lot of chisel work. And a good portion of that chisel work can be done cold. And this is actually a project that many other blacksmiths on YouTube has done. I think the oldest one is like from 10 years ago, maybe even longer. And each one has a little different take on it. It's going to be a single piece of angle iron. It's going to be that piece of angle iron. Or equivalent. Like I said, I was ready to go, and then I got surprised with orders for these. It's actually a project that if I was going to make it on a larger scale production-wise, I probably wouldn't use angle iron. So this one I wasn't paying attention too much, and I bend it down the wrong way. So my flat side was actually on the wrong side. So I just took it over to the back of the anvil and give it a little bit of hits just to straighten that up a little bit. And now it's coffee time. It's not going to be a fruit basket. It won't be a fruit hanger or anything like that. Ooh. I don't know what they... I just noticed on the back of my one camera, it has a little switch. I don't know what it does. Oh, it's got lights. Oh. Okay. I don't know why I need lights for it, but okay. Why did I grab the tongs? I mean my pliers. I guarantee if I had more people in the chat guessing what it's going to be, it would have already been guessed. No holes. Well, at least I'm not going to punch any holes or drill any holes or that kind of stuff. So if there is a hole in it, it's going to be more like a curl around than actually a hole. So there will be some cutting tomorrow. I want to do it all with a cold chisel or with a chisel. I haven't decided if I'm doing just cold or if I'm going to cut it with hot. Many people that do this project would use an angle grinder to actually do it. I think it's kind of cheating and kind of, if you're good with a cold cut chisel, it probably is quicker with a cold cut chisel. I bet as soon as you see me make it, you'd be like, "Oh, why didn't I guess that?" That's so obvious. So one thing when you are making these, you want to really keep an eye on is how much you're curling this tip over on, because where the bend is in the U or the J will depend on how much steel you're grabbing for the tip. So you really want to try and keep them as consistent as possible, or you're going to end up with a whole bunch of different lengths in your hooks. So that's the first couple of them. Where are we sitting at with time? Oh, I still got some time for you guys. So I think I'm going to go. I'm going to see if the hooks in the bucket are actually cooled down enough, and if so, I'm going to go back to punching. We'll put these aside because they're done. Oh yeah. Now, as for a finish with these guys, I will actually be doing a linseed oil finish on these. What I do after I form them, I will soak them in vinegar to get rid of all the scale off of them. And then, after taking all the scale off of them, I will heat them back up and put scale back on. Now the reason why I do that is because in the past, when I haven't done that, what happens is when I'm doing the punching of the hole and bending, the scale will actually flake off a little bit, and it'll actually make a rougher finish on the final hook. So like this one's a good example, like all the scale has been removed from inside here, as well as up here. So what happens is, if I heat this up to make it consistent and dump it in oil, some of that old scale will lift up, and then it'll just look, just not clean. it won't be a clean finish. So what I've found over the years of doing these and many trials is that doing them in vinegar to clean off the scale, and actually the hook I showed right off at the beginning of this show, this is one that has been done in vinegar. And as you can see, all that scale has been removed. So I will actually remove all that scale and then heat them up with the torch again to add scale. I know it sounds weird, but it does make a huge difference in the finish. And actually, a lot of stuff that I do an oil finish on, I will do very similar, where I will clean it off first and then put the scale back on. And if you missed that, that was just sprayed a little WD-40 on my punch. It does help a little bit. I don't like doing it because then it gets oil all over the place. But today it's not behaving, so it's getting a little bit of oil. And then with all these little holes that I'm punching out of here, so a little piece that falls out, the plug, yeah, let's call it the plug. I'm going to keep all these little plugs, and I'm going to, I might try and do a Damascus with it. It won't be high carbon, but it might be fun to play with. Yeah, so the reason why I don't have a plate to pop these off automatically is I think it's going to get in the way of being able to see where the punch is going to land on the hook. Because how these are designed, the plate comes down from the top here and actually goes down here. I don't know, I actually used to have the plates right here, because I took them off not that long ago. Where are they? I don't know. So normally the plates would actually be quite far away. So they actually sit down. I'm going to use this as a guide. Oh no, it's too big. So the plates that come with it actually sits from that little pin there, and then it has a little nub that comes down basically to that. The thing, and it works great for longer pieces of steel, but because these are these are too small, I would actually have to make a plate that is perfectly height for underneath these hooks and won't get in the way of that punch going down. So it can be done. I don't do enough hooks yet to actually justify doing that. I do a lot of hooks, but I think that would be a lot of trial and error. And there's just other things in my shop that would be a higher priority than having a plate to strip these off. And it's only these smaller holes, like the 4mm and the 5mm, that it really gets stuck on. And these are the ones I bought from an aftermarket person. So not the ones that came originally with this press. The ones that came with this press originally, they seem to be a little bit better at sliding off. Also, this 5mm one is relatively new. As they wear down, they actually get easier as well. The reason why this one is relatively new is because I snapped the last one. I was trying to punch a 5mm hole in 3/8, and it got stuck, and as I was trying to pull it out, it snapped right off. And that's why I have 2 of these floating around. I ended up buying 2 new ones, so if that ever happens, I got a backup. And another reason why I don't have a stripper for these is not this one. Looking for my other 4. My other 4mm has this. If you look at the die, it's got a little bit of a thicker piece here. And I'm almost going all the way down to that to actually do a punch. So if I'm doing the small ones, and I'm going through, there's not going to be actually any room for a stripper to go in there if I'm going almost all the way down. This one has a little bit of 1-2, not as bad, and I'm more likely would be able to make a better stripper for like to pop this off with this 5mm die than with the 4mm. Sorry, I was just trying to see what I just sold on Etsy. What I did just sell is one of my pottery ribs. Okay, take it easy, Nate. Thanks for coming out. Oh, it's a pottery rib. So basically, it is used to do straight lines. This particular one is straight lines on like the edges of your pots while it's spinning. Kind of like a putty knife, almost. I have it on Etsy. You can go over there and check it out. But also, I'll bring one into the shop tomorrow so I can show you on the screen. Yeah, it's called a pottery rib. I believe it's called a rib because it used to be made out of ribs. But I could be completely wrong. Yeah, take it easy, Nate. See you tomorrow for the fun mystery project. So I'm just checking to see how my streams are doing. Okay, so that's 100 of them punched. So I'm gonna sit here and take all the roughness off. So the little tags on the back after punching those. And where's my chair? Well, I'm going to sit down and do this. So again, I'm just taking the little rags kind of thing, when I punch them with the hole, these ones are not too bad, 5 millimeters, but I'll leave a little burr on the end, and it's just nicer to flatten that out a little bit. Doesn't take much, 1 or 2 taps with the hammer. And when I'm doing these in batch work, where not trying to keep up with chat and stuff and keep it engaging, I can actually get quite in a zone with these, and I find that they go really, really quick, especially these bigger ones. The smaller ones, just because the sheer numbers of the small ones that I will do compared to these. So the small ones I do batches of like 500, where these guys I'll do 200. And this is something I normally will just do in the morning and get them out. Because it actually doesn't take long to get these 200 done. As you can tell by this stream, I'm an hour and a little bit, hour and a half in, creeping up to 2 hours, I guess. So yeah, once I get right into a rhythm with this, it's actually not too bad. And what I will normally do is, when the first batch of 100, so the first 100 are getting flattened out, I'll put about half of them aside to cool down really quick, and then the other half I'll just put in a bucket like I did. And then when I go on to the next 100, I will actually start punching holes while I wait for the new nails, so the second batch of 100, to heat up in the forge. And I'll actually go back and forth. And then what I will do with once I get the last 100 flattened out, I'll actually finish up all the first 100. And by the time they're already finished up, all bent, the last 100 are cooled, so I can actually just start punching holes. Also, while I'm doing this, I will try and find other things around the shop that needs done but doesn't need my full attention. Breaking down material on the bandsaw is a great example. And what I'll do with that is I'll set up my stop to whatever length I need. And I'll just set it up to cut, go punch some holes, bend some hooks. And then when I get a chance, I'll pop over to the bandsaw again and get another piece going. Now, another thing you could do with these guys, I don't, but another thing that you can do with these guys to make them a little interesting is put a twist below the head. Just adds a little bit more element. And I know this is not a very exciting project. And I know a lot of blacksmiths that actually go full-time, or even a good amount of part-time, they actually drop doing hooks, and which is fine. The main reason why I do them is because the profit I make with these guys will easily pay for all my propane for the year. So, you know, doing a couple of batches every other month or so I can keep the propane going is pretty good for me, I think. Also, they're really easy to ship. When I first started shipping these, I just put them in a oversized envelope and stamp them up. Just put a stamp on it for whatever stamp you need for that envelope, and save a little bit of shipping. I don't do that much anymore because I started doing a flat rate for shipping. What time are we at? Just want to keep an eye on my time. Oh, I got a couple more minutes to go. So we'll get a couple more bent out. And then I'm going to unfortunately have to call it a show. Yeah. I need a clock. What time are we at? Oh. I really would have liked to get all 100 of these done today. But we're running a little short on time, which is okay. I got a good amount of them. So I will probably finish these up tomorrow morning, bright and early. And so with that, we are going to move you back. And I'm going to take the hooks I already got. I got to do my thumbnail now. So I did get enough hooks so it looks kind of nice. So I'm just going to go willy-nilly throwing them on. Oh no! I missed the bucket for one. I'll just put that over aside. You didn't see any of that. Do my thumbnail now. Nice. Well, if you made it this far, thank you so much for coming. I will see you guys tomorrow for the big mystery project. And with that, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I really appreciate it.